have to say, Limits to Growth was one of the probably two seminal epiphany creating books that I read in my journey after I left Wall Street. Most people that work on Wall Street have never heard of the book, much less read it. And if they have heard of it, they've heard of it as some neo-Malthusian nonsense that you can ignore. But it was a spear in the chest for me. It was a holy shit moment, because if exponential growth doesn't work, then everything I thought was true is built on a foundation of sand. Despite all of its achievements, our extractive economic system is an entropy accelerant. And again, most people on Wall Street, if they know what entropy means, they wouldn't connect its relevance to economics, much less finance. But entropy is the second law of thermodynamics. It's not a theory, it's a law. And our economic system is absolutely an accelerant of entropy, and that's not a good thing. We want to counter entropy in order to stay living and thriving. So it's really a profound moment in history. And it took me a while to get comfortable to both believe that, but then also say it. I think it's important to just reiterate that we've essentially turned economic growth into our church. It's our belief system. And this is true regardless of political ideology. The guy who invented GNP measures warned us that the welfare of a nation can't be inferred from the measure of economic growth. And anyone who believes in exponential growth forever on a finite world is either a madman or an economist. Now, in the course that I teach, I go back and trace the history of this back to the scientific revolution and a moment when economists, in a sense, had physics envy. There have been patches to neoclassical economics over the years, but they've never gone back and upgraded to recognize the advances of quantum physics, for example, much less our understanding of how life works, living systems work. And here's one grotesque example of one of the patches. In 2018, William Nordhaus, who's one of the leaders of this field of environmental economics, developed a model that essentially said that 3.5 degrees Celsius warming is our optimal goal, because any lower goal would cost too much. And he won the Nobel Prize for that. So it gives you an idea of how lost the economics profession is. We're not so good at complex, yet the world is complex. And so we need to learn how to, we don't even really need to learn how to manage complexity. We need to learn how to manage with complexity or dance with complexity. And I and others now increasingly think that this moment, as I said earlier, is a bigger shift than the shift from the medieval era to the modern era. And I'll just, to be provocative, call it the regenerative era. And as Einstein said, theory actually limits what we're able to see. So if we look at something through a failed theory, we won't actually see it for what it is. So, quick definition, a theory of economics would imply that we need to apply nature's laws and patterns of systemic health, self-organization, self-renewal, and regenerative vitality to the design of socioeconomic systems. If you have no relationship with the enterprises that you invest in, you're in conflict with the first and fundamental principle of living systems, which is to work in right relationship. But the future, in my opinion, and this is going to be really hard, and I have no pretense that this is about to happen, but to be a regenerative financial system and to do regenerative investment requires a stretch way out to the right that no one is even talking about yet. And I've written about this extensively in my book, which is online, Finance for a Regenerative World.